It's your girl Alyssa, and I'm here with my friend Janessa from Read the Book First, a book to film adaptation podcast. Without further ado, hey Janessa, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. I'm so excited to be back at the pod.
Thank you for coming on the podcast. We actually
Of
have an episode
course.
coming out on your podcast about Hair Love,
Yes.
the short film and the
And
book.
book.
And I'm happy to have you on my podcast to discuss a really awesome prompt you gave me about book expectations. Can you tell
Yeah.
listeners a little bit about it?
Yeah, there was a trend going on a couple weeks back on Bookstagram where people made fun little pictures of like adding books to either, they often books that met their expectations, exceeded, that didn't meet their expectations, or that they have high expectations of. And I just found it a really fun trend because there's not a lot of detail of why it did or did not, which is kind of fun to kind of like like be all Sherlock Holmes and be like, why didn't you like that? Or why wasn't it good enough? Or maybe you just had crazy high expectations. I liked it. It was fun. And we were getting together. I was like, this would be a fun idea because I have thoughts to share.
I agree. I also have I know we're only going to do one book per little
Mhm.
like thing, but I do have a few books that I want to highlight that I've recently gotten that I think fill
Amazing.
in this like expectation blurb because there's a lot of books that I currently own I want to read, and there are books that I've read that maybe didn't meet my expectations and I still have them. Because I'm like, do I donate them? Like, do I try again? Like, what do I do? So I'm excited to dive into this with you because you also read a lot. So I'm so excited.
Yes, always reading.
Always reading. And a random question, do you
Yeah.
prefer audiobooks, ebooks, or physical copies?
I I usually like a physical copy. I do love an audiobook. I love listening to stuff while I do tasks. And this year I've gotten into my e-reader because I've been getting a lot of books off my Libby onto my Kindle and a lot of like NetGalley arcs digitally.
Hmm.
And typically I'm not an e-reader girl, but this is my year of being an e-reader girly, and I'm just embracing it and moving on. But like
That's
I,
okay.
I will say I do not like hardback books because they hurt my hands.
Oh,
Yeah.
hot take. Hot
I'm
take.
like I like paperbacks.
Okay. I
Hmm.
kind of wish that I had a like book cover for some of my books because my hands, I put like cuticle oil on my fingers sometimes.
Hmm.
My skin
Hmm.
cracks. So I don't
Hmm.
want my books to get oily because of the lotions I have on or the
Yeah,
cuticle
for
oil.
sure.
So I've
Yeah.
been thinking about investing in like a book cover. You know, I love the covers of my books.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'm just sitting here like realistically, I do not want my book to be oily.
Yeah.
But I do want to hold it in my
But maybe you could
hands.
get like one and that could just be your like I'm actively reading this book, switch the
Yeah.
covers, and then when you're done, switch it back.
I need to find one that can fit my small and my big books
That's
because
true.
I have different sizes. Anyone have an invention out there or a Etsy recommendation? Please, we love a small business. Put it in the comments below. And please feel free to also put in the comments like books that fulfill these elements for you too. Books that met your expectations, books that didn't. As long as you're kind, I always want to hear it. So, all right, we're going to dive into it right now and we're going to go back and forth. I'm going to ask you for
Amazing.
yours and then I'll show mine. So, first one, what is a book that met your expectations?
A book that met my expectation was Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater. Have you read this?
I actually own it. I own it. It's in a stack nearby. I want to read it. I'm saving it for October.
Okay, so my friend pitched this to me as I'm someone who loves and is obsessed with Pride and Prejudice. I love Regency. I love Jane Austen. That is my jam. And she said, this is what Jane Austen and fairy tales and a little bit of Studio Ghibli combined. And I was like, that is for me. And I read it and I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. It's about a girl who is cursed by a fairy and she, has to live this like life where she doesn't feel emotion. So there's a lot of like neurodivergent allegories to the story too. It's set in
Mm.
Regency era England. Um, it is her and this fairy character, or one of the fairy characters, don't like each other at first, but will they, won't they fall in love? We don't know. And it's like a good mystery, self-love story. There's a romance. It's fairies, Regency. There's a ball.
Ooh, I love a
It's
good ball.
yes, I loved it, and it was like I didn't have super high expectations, but it met what I thought it was going to be, and I ate it up.
I'm excited. I own Half a Soul. I'm saving it for October. I want to do
Hmm.
an entire month dedicated to like magical, mystical stories.
Fun.
especially because we're getting closer to Practical Magic too. So I want to kind
Yes.
of do an entire month of like those books with those vibes. So I'm super
Yes.
excited. Okay, so I love your book that met your expectation. I have two books that have met my expectation. I had to
Amazing.
keep it short because one of my answers for one of these topics is long. So this is my two short ones.
All
The
right.
first one just came out this month. I had the author on the podcast. We discussed her inspiration for it, and that would be Thrall by Rebecca Mahoney. I have tons of tabs on my ARC copy because this was one of my favorite books of the year. For anyone who listened to my episode about my anticipated books of 2026, this was on there. My hope, my personal dream was to interview a lot of the authors who were on that list. And I'm going to make that a possibility and a reality for y'all because I want to bring them on the podcast. But Rebecca was one of them. This book came out the 26th of this month, so she's brand new to y'all. But this is a Dracula retelling on a college
Fun.
campus. It's good. It is a Dracula retelling on a college campus. And long story short, the Lucy character, not Mina, the
Hmm.
Lucy character, goes to college a little bit older in life due to a controlling mom. And her first night on campus, she gets attacked. And it's unfortunate because her mom was so afraid all the time. And now, when
Hmm.
she finally does get out and gets away from this controlling entity in her life, she gets pulled into someone else who does not consider her at all. And literally the first page of this book is about like the teeth of life, like the fears of life,
Yeah.
which is a great metaphor for vampires. The author wanted to bring back scary vampires, not the
Okay.
sexy romantic.
Not
She
the
wanted to bring
sexy
back
ones.
scary
No True Blood
vampires.
vampires here.
Hell yeah. Like the original Dracula, where it's like he allures her in. She didn't really have any autonomy. Like the
Hmm.
power imbalance is very
The
there.
control.
Hella in control. So in this one, we have someone who is also queer, who
Hmm.
is now being controlled by a vampire who does not even care about that. He generally just sees her as like a blood bag, pretty
Food.
much. Yeah, he doesn't really care about any of that. It's not
Hmm.
romantic in nature. But there is a character in this story who's in the original Dracula who is giving queer representation as well.
Okay.
So we've got bows and arrows, we've got a college campus, we have a radio station trying to warn people about the man with cold hands on campus before he attacks more people. It is absolutely amazing. We also have the transcripts of the like radio station. I cannot wait for this to become a audiobook because I feel like the quality is going to be amazing. I'm so excited. But for now, I think it's paperback. I'm hoping the audiobook comes out soon. But Thrall was one of my like it's amazing. My
Yeah.
expectations were met. It was awesome. I tabbed the crap out of my copy. And the first line of this book that is just like it pulls you right in is a transcript of Rollins University student radio station WVBS Palace Radio, broadcast number not yet assigned, unknown speaker. My mother always said I'd get eaten alive out here in the real world. And of course, every time she said it, the world meant a different thing: the bus stop, the crosswalk, college, eventually. And that is Thrall. It
That
is
sounds
so
so
good.
good.
Girl, it is so good. I know spooky is not for everyone, but we're getting closer to Summerween. It is not like nightmare fuel, but it definitely, if you ever got creeped out by like Edward being in her room, what if it wasn't romantic? What if it wasn't mutual? Yeah, yeah.
That
And if
sounds
you
so good.
it's so good. It's a great like retelling of Dracula. If you like spooky libraries as well, you get that. So this is super fun.
Awesome.
So that's one. And then the other one I wanted to bring up, a book that met my expectations, is also a personal favorite. And that is The Black Girl Survives in this one, which is a horror anthology edited by Desiree S. Evans and SaraciaJ.Fennell. This is also hella annotated. Each short story is written by a Black author, and every story in this book follows a young Black main character who encounters something very spooky, and it discusses the nature of that. And just the titles of these short stories are perfect. I love a good Summerween. And some of the titles are Harvesters, Welcome Back to the Cosmos, Ghostlight, and The Brides of Devil's Bayou.
I
So
love
good.
anthologies. That I've seen that on my bookstore, and I'm not a super spooky person, but I think short stories I can handle because they're short.
They're short. There is a dance party in a graveyard. There
Okay.
are, and it's like a high school party. I guess they wouldn't allow them to party at the school. So the
Yeah.
cheap place they could find was that.
Hmm.
And yes, they're very like meta. Like this,
Hmm.
it's like Scream in that short story because they're aware like this is not
Yeah.
right, but they're kids and they're being dumb. So
Hmm.
this is just an amazing anthology. There's a sci-fi short story as well.
Hmm.
There's a nature walk that gets creepy. It's great. It's a great anthology. It's super easy to read. It's not super horrific. It touches on a lot of social issues as well. And it's very unique. If you want to dip your toes into spooky and you love Halloween all year, y'all got to grab this one. The Black Girl Survives in this one. It's so good and it's out now. So, those are some of the books that have met my expectations. My next question for you is, what is one book that exceeded your expectations?
A book that has exceeded my expectation is I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham Jones. I know I just said I'm not a spooky girly, and I think that's why this book exceeded my expectations because I read this with a book club, and my friend was like, "We're going to read this," and I said, "I'm going to be terrified," and she said, "Put your big girl pants on. You can read it." And I read it, and I loved it. I
Mm,
loved it, and I could probably count how many scary movies I've seen on one hand. I'm not a scary movie person. Like I like gothic vibe is spooky, but not scary. Like they're different in my brain.
I
Um,
agree.
and this one was scary, but I think it's so meta that like my brain was able to read through it. If you've not heard of Stephen Graham Jones, he's one of the most popular, prolific horror writers, especially in the world of Indigenous writers. And I've only read this from him, but I do want to read more of his stuff because I loved his writing so much. But this follows a teenager who ends up getting um, a he becomes a teenage slasher via this blood that from a different teenage slasher that gets in his mouth on accident, kind of like so like a virus essentially that turns him into a teenage slasher, and he slowly turns into one, but he's like not fully conscious when he is one. So you have like two perspectives of what him when he's his normal self, him and his best friend are like trying to figure out what is happening, and then you have him kind of narrating himself like out of body, like, and then I did this, and then I did, and it follows the tropes of like teenage slasher movies. So like he walks, but he gets everywhere really fast. So when he's chasing his victims, he is walking. Or like if he is hurt, so like if he has like a nail in his foot, he goes faster. Like it follows all the tropes and to poke fun at the genre, but also to be very serious about it. And it also has to do with takes place in the 80s in Texas, small town Texas, and the character and his best friends are kind of like the outcasts of this small town. So it has to do with like class issues and so like that into it as well. But it like had me at the edge of my seat and it was beautiful and disgusting. There's some gross things in here, right? It's a teenage slasher book, but it was so good. Like it has me wanting to try and read scary things, and I'm a wimp. So it exceeded my expectation. I was like, here I am. I'm ready to go back. Just
Yes,
for
let's
Stephen
go
Graham
in.
Jones, though.
Ooh, I love horror. I love the indigenous horror genre and how many authors are rising up from that and sharing a lot more of their stories.
Hmm.
It's freaking amazing. I have
Yes.
a book that I'll recommend to you as well. It's across the room, but if you like the vibes of Stephen Graham Jones, you like spooky, you like unique tales as well. I have a book that I will grab for you in a minute and I will show you. I've had the author
Amazing.
on the podcast. She's amazing. She's also a wonderful indigenous author and just stands on her own. She's an amazing mind, and it does have a spooky hotel that is haunted. A wink at
Okay.
The Shining. But
Okay.
the actual hotel the land it's on is it's like a real place, and it is
Okay.
actually has like dark themes, so it's very good.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
a
cool.
book that exceeded my expectations was my first book I ever read from Rachel Harrison. I've been collecting her books since then. I gave my mom my copy of Play Nice, but this is the book that kind of started it all. I could not stop reading, and it kind of slowly eased me into the beauty of her writing, and that is Cackle by Rachel Harrison. This book redefined witchcraft for me. It redefined a sense of people pleasing and the negatives of that. This exceeded my expectations. This follows a young woman who's getting out of a relationship, and she kind of put a lot of her self-worth in her relationship at the time. So she starts over. She's a teacher. She goes to a small town, and is still kind of in communication with her ex-boyfriend. It's hard to break that tether. And she ends up going to this small town, and it's like, imagine a spookier version of like Gilmore Girls a little bit.
Fun.
But the Lorelai of it all, the like charming, everyone knows her, you know, everyone has a sense of kindness towards her. She is the witch of the town. And
Okay.
she's like very otherworldly. She gets everything for free. She always has a fresh basket of fruit, vegetables. She walks into the farmer's market and like she grabs exactly what she wants, doesn't have to pay. She lives in like a dilapidated castle that's like beautiful and gothic, very Florence like
Hmm.
machine-esque,
Yes, yes.
that aesthetic. And she befriends the main character. Um, and it begins to get kind of spooky when people in town aren't necessarily nice to the main character. I imagined her as the girl from like Pitch Perfect.
Hmm.
I imagined her as like the redhead, like very like quirky, just trying to kind of figure it out, a lot on her mind, kind of scattered. And she begins to see spiders around. But she lives near the woods. She's like, oh, it's like nature.
Yeah.
But the spider will like turn her light bulb so it's tight again. A student in her class says something kind of smart and like shitty to her because she's very slim. So he calls her like a bird or something,
Hmm.
and he ends up coughing up a spider. And her friend was like, "Do you want me to like make the kids like like act
Hmm.
correctly?" She's like, "Oh no, it's not a problem. They're just like shitty kids." And she's like, "No, I can handle it for you." And she does. So there's that. It has spooky moments, but it is not terrifying.
Okay.
And it's more so that the witch in this story is trying to tell the main character like stand up for yourself, like you have power inside of yourself and you're not unlocking it because you're scared of yourself. And if you just took a step back, things aren't that scary. It is so good. It's about female friendship, it's about finding yourself. It does have spooky moments similar to Practical Magic, but the heart of it all is
Hmm.
that witchy like come into your own, like you can handle it. It is so good. It is so good. I highly recommend it. And the other book I'm going to recommend you, I'll grab in a minute, but this is the one that like exceeded my expectations, and I cannot wait to read. I've read two of her books now, and I can't wait to read the rest of them because they're fucking awesome. So,
Hmm.
yes, and she writes girlhood and like womanhood in a really interesting way.
Okay.
Yeah, all of her characters are like to some extent like they're very human. Like they're not
Yeah.
100% good, 100% bad. Like they have cringy moments. Like they're afraid of their own like influence on others. It is so good. So,
Amazing.
yes. And also apparently all of her books touch on like different mythical creatures. This one
Okay.
was witches. She has
Yeah.
another one that touches on like false prophets
Hmm.
and like demonic entities and the perspective of like toxic families. So that's Black Sheep. She has another
Hmm.
one that is vampires, and that's So Thirsty. And that touches on like two girls who go to a house party, and it turns out the entire house is full of vampires. So Play Nice is a haunted house, but it touches on like manipulative mothers and like false memories. It is every story has a
I
mythical
love
creature.
that.
It is so good. It is. She did zombies for one, so
Okay.
it was like a missing girl, and it comes out she's
Yeah.
not quite right. I'm telling you, I got a theory. I got a theory. So, yes, that was a book that exceeded my expectations. My next question for you is what is one that did not meet your expectations? The tea is hot.
I the one that did not, it's like when I was thinking about this, I was like, do I pick a book that I just hated? But like I've been on online on the Bookish world, the different forms over the last over gosh, 15 years. Wow. Um, like Instagram, BookTube, etc., TikTok. And I know to not fall for the hype of all the, like the TikTok books, right? Because you can't set your expectations too high. Like I try to create my expectations based off people I trust, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not just like some person on TikTok said I'd love this book, so therefore I'd love it. That like maybe I'll check it out, I'm not saying I'll give
I
it a
hear that.
try, but so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna choose one that I just hated. Like, what book did I actually have, you know, what I thought was accurate intel from someone, and then I read it, and it was just not it. And to me, it was Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. I am not a huge fairy fantasy book person, even though this book has fairies in it, which is ironic. Um, but my friend who reads a lot of similar books to I that I do, and she reads a lot. She's like, this book has it's set historical. The girl's in a male-dominated field, and it's, she's fighting against the patriarchy. The romance is very like Howl's Moving Castle, enemies, frenemies to lovers. He falls first. There's a fairy evil king, and like all this. There's a mystery, and I was like, on paper, I was hyped. And I was like, this sounds great. This sounds what I want to hear. Like, I don't love high fantasy. I like kind of the lower, like, mixture of genres. Like, I love a magical realism moment, right? I like the kind of lower fantasy. And so I was like, this is going to be great. And I read it, and, like, it wasn't bad. Like, I think I gave it 3 stars. But, like, every, like, plot point, I was like, oh, that's what they're doing? But they could have done this. They could have done, you know what I mean? Like it just wasn't hitting.
Mm,
And I and so I decided not to continue with the series and I got rid of the book because I was like, it was not bad by any means. It just did not meet the expectations and it wasn't what I thought it all of that it could be. So it was just a bummer of a read in
it's
that
okay.
way.
It's okay. I the book I happen to have a special edition. I was gifted it, and I'm very grateful. But I could not get into it because it has a trope in it that is hard for me to like swallow. And I'm not a big fan of like infidelity, especially when it's like in detail.
Yeah.
This one had it in detail. It's like the
Mm.
core part of the story, which I did not know. So that would be A Love Letter to Whiskey by Candy Steiner. I've had friends recommend this to me. I thought I could push through it. I cannot. But this story, it's not really a spoiler because it's known pretty early on. The
Hmm.
main character, when she meets her love interest, like she bumps into him while jogging, and I guess like her best friend was right behind her, and like the guy, she was like kind of bitching at him, like you piece of shit, like you bumped into me, and he sees her and they have like an instant moment of attraction, but then her friend comes around the corner and like begins to flirt with him, and even though the main character liked him from the very beginning, she does not verbalize that. So her best friend ends up dating the guy. They break up, but they do later on get back together, and it does get serious. Um, there's also moments when like he starts dating someone else, and a deep emotional connection, which is not like just friends. So I was just reading it, and I was like, I'm so uncomfortable right now. And like I tend to love like taboo topics, but this is like the one that I just could never get with. I could never get
Yeah.
with it when they both know they're with other people, but they still like sleep together. They still like, I've always loved you, but I'm still gonna date. Blah blah blah. I'm like, just break up with her. Like, why are you
Yeah.
keeping her in the background? Yeah, that's like 80% of this book. I had the audiobook. I really tried to push through and give it a chance, and it's like pulling teeth. It's very
Hmm.
hard for me. So I highly doubt the author will see this. I wish her no ill will. Like I know there are people out here who love this book to the ends of
Hmm.
the earth. I will definitely be gifting this to someone or donating it to someone. Like I will not let it go unloved. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Someone else will find joy in the book.
Someone else will find joy in the book. There are some things that I love. Like I
Hmm.
love a dark, MMC. I love a female main character who like has her own reasons and is kind of prickly. I just could never get into like
Hmm.
the cheating trope. It's hard for
Hmm.
me, especially in a romance where they're
Yeah.
cheating with each other. I'm like, I feel bad for the other person. Like I feel
Hmm.
bad. So no, it's my heart can't handle it. And like I said, this is no poo poo against the author in any way. What is one book that you have really high expectations for, or more than
Um,
one?
I have, I mean, so many. Like,
I have a few, so please feel free to fire away.
like I, okay, like everyone else, I over the last 6 months have become obsessed with Heated Rivalry. Uh, read the books, read the show, reread the books, rewatched the show, obsessed. I am so excited for the upcoming book that's supposed to come out next year. And I have crazy high expectations. And as a reader, I try not to create extremely high expectations because authors are human. Editors have a lot more power than we think. You know what I mean? And I've been burnt too many times in the past about having crazy expectations. And, you know, so, but I think with these books, I'm going to, I will love whatever Rachel Reid decides to write for us. Like, there's one thing that I would hate and she would not do because it's a romance genre. You know what I mean? Like, the characters are not going anywhere. Like, they are end game. Like, that is said, and it will be, you know what I mean? Like, they might have troubles along the way, which is a good story. And I'm okay with that. But they're going to have a happily ever after. And therefore, however they get there, I'm along for the ride. I am sat. I am there. So that's the one I'm like, I'm looking forward to it.
Hell yeah. I love
Yeah.
this. Okay. I do have a bit of a pile. I
Go
tried to
for
keep
it.
it small. I tried to keep it small. Okay.
I'm gonna get these book recs. I'm gonna write them down as you go.
And get them now. And get them now. So the first one, I actually got my physical copy from one of my favorite independent Black-owned bookstores here in Florida. You can also support them online. It's Jay's House. Jays. They are amazing. And this book, I'm actually interviewing the author very soon. So I'm going to be
Fun.
reading it. Yes, because I'm like, it just came out. So I'm like, give me a moment. But it is Devil of the Deep by Valencia Jean Francois. The author
Yes.
is Haitian and also queer, and this book also has Haitian representation, queerness, pirates, and mermaids.
I read this at the back of it at the bookstore last time I was there. It looks so
Mm-hmm.
good.
Hell yeah. And the edges are sprayed red, which I love because of course, the beauty and the colors of the Haitian flag. And the cover, for folks who are listening on Spotify, is a beautiful Black woman. She has the waves in her hands like a skirt, and there's a ship in the waves, and she's looking down, and it's beautiful, iconic fantasy, and just wonderful. Even the spine has a little Black woman who's a mermaid, and I love to see it. But the back of the book says, Lou watched the love of his life walk the plank and sink into the inky blue depths of the sea. Nana was dead, or so he thought. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, you got me. You got
Have
me.
Have you read The Deep by River Solomon?
I own it. I own
Okay.
it. What another book where I'm sitting here and I'm like, don't expose me like that. I own
Sorry.
it.
I
Yes.
read that I read that in February. So good.
I need to read it. I know it has mer folks who have like the memories of the previous folks that have like lived.
It's so good. I
It
recommend
sounds
it.
so good.
It's good.
Give it to
So
me
that just
now.
reminded me of it. Yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
reading the first line of a story to give people like a vibe. And the first chapter says, one, the fisherman. 20 years had passed since the fisherman's wife had returned to the sea, yet he still reached for her every morning before the sun opened his eyes. With a sleepy smile on his face, he would slowly slide his fingers across the bed they had shared since their wedding night, eager to feel her warm skin, only to find empty air. And that is the first line of Devil of the Deep. I'm so excited to read this and keep an eye out because I'm having the author on the podcast very soon, and we love to see it. The next one is a retelling, somewhat. I think you'll find interest in this. It is somewhat a retelling, a little bit, but gay, and we love to see it. So, for folks who love like Song of Achilles, which I'll also be reading, I literally have it here. I'm just really scared because I know it's gonna make me cry. As a queer person, I'm scared. So I have Song of Achilles, but this book is like the sapphic sister to that, I have heard.
Okay.
So this is Sweet Bitter Song by Rosie Hewlett. So I'm so excited to read this. This is gonna tug on your heartstrings, I have heard.
Okay.
Upon the shores of Ithaca, in the shadows of a legendary war, two women must face their own battle, one of sisterhood, survival, and a forbidden love that can destroy them both. One summer night within the palace of Sparta, a young slave girl stumbles across a gray-eyed princess. Despite living worlds apart, and I'm sorry if I butchered this name, Melantheo and Penelope, the Penelope, y'all, for the nerds out there, are instantly drawn to each other, and a powerful friendship blooms. But the Spartan royals do not approve of this bond, and soon Melantio and Penelope find themselves viciously torn apart, their trusts irreparably shattered. Years later, their paths cross again upon the rocky shores of Ithaca, where Melantio is sent to serve Princess Penelope and her new husband, Prince Odysseus. The saxophones are getting louder. Embittered by life as a slave, Melantio is determined to keep her distance, but once again, the two women find themselves drawn to each other, pulled by the echo of their friendship and something far stronger than they're afraid to name. When war blazes across Greece, Odysseus and the men of Ithaca are driven to foreign lands. In their absence, Melantio finds a new world opening up before her, one where women rule, family can be found, and forbidden love is finally given the chance to bloom. A profound tale of love, identity, and defiance, Sweet Bitter Song tells a story forgotten by history, one of bravery, hope, and celebrating two women who fought to protect their love from a world they tried to deny their very existence.
That sounds so good.
Bro, I heard about this one and I love the Odyssey. So I was like, hell yeah, I need it. And the first line in the book is, my mother cried when the king of Sparta first summoned me. I could not understand why. And that is
Ooh.
Sweet Bitter Song by Rosie Hulette. This looks so good. I cannot wait to read it. I'm a huge fan of the story of the Odyssey. I remember reading it in high school. I was a huge fan of Epic, the musical. I cannot wait to read Song of Achilles. Let me know if y'all would like a double feature where I read these back to back. Rock hard, so cool. If I read these back to back, I will circle back. Y'all will be paying for my therapy bill.
If you read both of those and you don't read the Hunger Games book that I've been yapping at you to read for the last year,
That's so
I'll be
messed up.
personally offended. Because
Oh,
those, I've read A Song of Achilles, you're gonna cry.
uh,
Uh-huh. And therefore, if you can cry at that, you can cry at the Hunger Games book that you need to read.
dang, bro. Fine, I'll do it. I'll do it. I read Songbirds and Snakes when it first came out. I cried so hard. I had to
Oh,
like put the book down because I was sobbing. I was like, my chest
oh,
hurts. Yeah,
oh.
I was tired of this, Grandpa. Like from Holes. I was tired of this. But then she released another book. She pulled me back in.
And
So I'm like,
girl,
I'm getting scared because I didn't like Haymitch in the original series, and now I think I'm gonna have. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
what?
know.
Alyssa,
I'm sorry.
we
I don't like blondes. And I also
I'm a,
wasn't here for his
I'm about to
blonde.
start
I
crying.
didn't give an F. I didn't give an F. I thought Snow was misunderstood and I appreciated it. I'm joking. I'm joking. I thought Snow was misunderstood and I thought Haymitch was kind of classist. No. I just wasn't a big fan of Haymitch. I was a PETA girl.
I mean, he is a
10 toes
jerk.
down.
Yes, PETA.
I was
Absolutely.
PETA all day. I didn't care about anyone else
Absolutely.
but PETA. I didn't
Absolutely.
even care about Katniss anymore. I just cared about PETA. So when PETA got kidnapped,
Absolutely.
I just didn't really give a shit anymore. I was mentally in a different place. And then Divergent happened, and then I only cared about Four and Tris. That was kind of it. Tris died. I was like, well, got nothing to live for. And now I keep getting pulled into these tales of sadness, depression, hurt, and I wait for a silver lining in these series, and I never find it. So sitting here, and I'm like, there's no
Yeah.
joy. There's no joy. And then Haymitch is like, I got a story too, and I'm like, I bet it's full of pain. I bet it's full of
Oh,
suffering.
oh,
So,
and it's full of stuff, that's for sure.
if he's got love, they ain't gonna make it. They ain't
Oh,
gonna make it. What's next? Finnick?
you
So,
have to.
what's next?
You have to read it, Alyssa.
No.
I'm
So I'm saying,
begging you.
no,
I'm begging
no.
you. It's all
I
right.
will
One
definitely be
day,
reading it.
one day you'll text me and I'll be like, finally. Finally.
There's someone in the distance, and you're just gonna be dancing around a fire. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I
Yep.
just hear coffee like levitating. Like somebody, I have feel this itch to read it now. But I definitely want to check it out. My last three anticipated books, like they have to meet my expectations,
Oh, okay.
is "I'll Make a Spectacle of You" by Beatrice Winifred Aker. So this book, actually, if you look at the cover, if you're on YouTube, the roots coming under this chapel create a skull. And inside of the roots is the little shells that you see that used to be like money back in the day in like
Mm-hmm.
coastal towns.
Mm-hmm.
And the sky is red and covered by trees. There's actually a saying growing up my grandpa used to say, where he said that red sky at night is sailors' delight, red sky in the morning, sailors take
Sailor's
warning.
Morning.
So it was one
Mm-hmm.
of those things where whenever I see a red sky in a book, I'm like, this could be aesthetic, or this could Loki be a good old tale. And I love
Yeah.
to see it. But this one is actually a debut, and I love
Ooh.
debuts. And it says Zora Robinson is an ambitious grad student in her dream program at Berksbury Mountain College. But when her thesis advisor hands her a strange diary, it suggests that she researches the local legend about a beast in the woods. She finds a community uneager to talk to an outsider, and she delves deeper into the legend's history. Zora uncovers a rumored secret society called the Keepers, which has tenuous ties to the beasts and to Brixbury itself. When students start to disappear, Zora finds herself plagued by visions of the past as she struggles to separate the truth from folklore before it is too late. There is something that is in the woods and has his eyes on Zora, and that is, I will make a spectacle out of you.
That sounds
Um,
good too.
I was like,
Dang, this is
I
just personal
love
Janessa book
folklore.
recs.
Dude, dude, I love a good spooky tale. And the first line was The Beast in the Woods was a folktale native to Jonesboro era. It has been hypothesized it was created to keep children from playing anywhere near wolves and rattlesnakes. The folktale detailed the story of backwoods, a town surrounded by dense forests. Occasionally, occasionally people would hear the cries coming from the trees. And that is I'll make a
Ooh,
spectacle of you.
fun.
I wanted to find a
Spooky.
book that gave me the same dread as like Sinners.
Yeah, that seems
And
like a historical kind of dread.
I was like, yeah, I want to feel the same feeling after he's saying, somebody take me. And you see something in the shadows, like watching. I wanted a book that would like unlock that feeling. And this is one of the books that has unlocked that feeling. Another one is a book that I recently got by another author who's coming on the podcast soon called Johnny Compton. And he has a new book called Dead First. And
Ooh.
that just came out. And that is about a man who cannot die, who is very wealthy, and he ends up calling this black queer detective. He calls her and he's like, I know your darkest secret. And if you do not find out why I can't die, I'll reveal it. And she's like, please don't reveal it. You don't know what it is. And she's like, I don't believe you can't die. And he's like, okay. So he gets like stabbed through the head in front of
Hmm.
her by his like assistant. She pulls the thingy out and then he just gets revived. And he's like, so I don't know how this happened. You need to figure it out. Figure it out. So that is Dead First by Johnny Compton.
Dang.
I'm so excited to read it. It just came out, and he is coming on the podcast as well to discuss his inspiration. I did discuss his first book on the podcast, which is The Spite House, about an old woman who hires people to go inside of her haunted house,
Hmm.
but she knows they won't make it. And
Hmm.
a single father and his two daughters go into the house to make some money, and they learn very quickly. So that's another book that gives you the dread of
Yeah.
sinners, but a haunted house. The last two are young adults. They are fantasy. No spooky here. This is These Kindred Hearts. It's edited by Sherry B. Panett. She is the owner of Jay's House here in South Florida. That bookstore I was
Oh, that's
talking
so
about,
cool.
she's the owner, and she's also an
That's
editor and an
awesome.
author. This comes out this summer. So I think this comes out in July of this year. It is also an anthology, which is so fun. And it is a series of fantasy and romance written by 17 different authors. So I'm
Amazing.
excited for this. And the last one is a buddy read, and that is Deadly Ever After by Brittany Johnson. This is about two princesses, one who is getting married and gets killed on her wedding night, and one who is trying to get like avenge her brother, and she dies on the journey. They both end up in this like underworld, and they're told by their gods like, hey, you have to find true love's kiss. If you kiss the wrong person, you're like dead permanently. And the two princesses are going to try to investigate like how they can try to find true love's kiss so they can get back to the real world. But they low-key are beginning to develop feelings for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like they're gonna fall
hell
in
yeah.
love. That
And
looks
they might fall in love.
fun.
They might fall in love. And the author as well, like her author photo is like her like a fluffy pink dress, and
Fun.
it's so whimsical and cute. And the dedication is for anyone who has ever questioned whether they deserve a happily ever after. And the first night like line is keep a stiff neck, your highness. One of my ladies in waiting reminds me. And that is that. That is that. That is my stack of like y'all better meet my expectations right now. But you know what? If you guys want an episode of like books that made us cry, recent, I will read the Hunger Games book. I swear it. Mew mew mew. I will read it. I got my 3 fingers up. Okay, I'll read it. I will read it if you read a book that makes you cry, a book you know is gonna make you cry. I'll read it. I'll read it.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
that's what I thought.
Deal.
That's what I
Deal.
thought. So I double dog dare you. I double dog dare you. So
not the double dog.
I double dog dare you. I will read 3 books that make me cry.
Okay.
And I challenge you to also read 3 books that'll make you cry.
All right.
Hell yeah.
All right.
All right.
We'll do a crying episode.
I think that's a great move. We don't have to cry actively, but I think we do have to like check in.
Yes.
And be like, hey, on a cry meter, a single tear, sobbing, or like uncontrollable.
Yes.
What would you rate this book? And
Amazing.
I'm gonna read the big 3. I'm gonna read the big 3.
Do it.
Thank you so much for coming on my podcast and sharing your expectations and your books.
Yes.
Where can everyone find you and your podcast?
Y'all can listen to us on any platform. Read the Book First. On Instagram, we're at Read the Book First Podcast. We do weekly episodes, one about a book, then the one following is about the movie or TV show adaptation, with exception to a few like special episodes. Alyssa is on a recent episode where we talk about the short film Hair Love, as well as some other episodes in the past. So definitely go check those out and follow along.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Janessa. You are absolutely divine. Everyone, check out Read the Book First. And if you want our crying episode, let us know in the comments below.
Yes,
we will do it, bro.
I will go through that pain for you.
Thank you, broski. You know what? We can always do 2 books of your own, and then we'll discuss 1 book we've both read. We can always do that.
Love that.
If you want it to be the Hunger Games book, I'll do it.
I'm gonna reread it this summer.
I'll do it. Don't threaten me. I got it. So
don't threaten me with a good time. I will cry.
I will cry.
I will cry.
So I feel like the penguin from Happy Feet, where it's like, "Don't push me," and he like throws himself. And it's got to be me crying, like, don't threaten me.
Same.
I'm gonna throw myself off this emotional cliff. And I'm like, who did this to me? You in the shadows. But everyone,
and I'll be there next to you.
Both of us flying. I'm just gonna have an image of like the Happy Feet penguins, just us flying off this cliff into a pile of books and make us sad. But yes, please follow Janessa on all of the platforms for social media, but also for her podcast, Read the Book First. Thank you for listening. You can like it on YouTube and you can also subscribe. And on Spotify, please follow, leave a nice little rating, and have a great day. Stay cozy, y'all. I'll see you later. Bye.